Hi, welcome back. This is Chicken Philosophy, the Meccan Revelations, part 79. 79. I wasn't making memories in 79. Not really. None that I remember. I mean, I remember seeing the crib, but that could have been 80, right? How long do they keep you in cribs? Never mind. Yes. So, if you would like to start at the beginning of the Meccan Revelations on Chicken Philosophy, here's the playlist. You can start with part 1, or you can surf up and down and look for a pretty thumbnail to check out. If you're kind of like, if you're new, for those who are new, and if you're like, why is this guy reading the Meccan Revelations by Ibn al-Arabi, then I would invite you, as an introduction, to check out this video right here. All right. Yeah, so now the next thing we do the ritual liquid and fire. I was trying to be alchemical. Moisture and heat separately. So the moisture could be cold, it could be hot. The heat could be moist or dry. Probably in this case dry, because fire and air, that's what it is. The Wiccans have a better, because never mind. They do fire and air is the incense, and water and earth is the water, because they put a little salt in the water and then they sprinkle it all around, and then they go with incense. And on fire and air, breath and flame, creature of water, this charge I give, no evil in thy presence live. No, that was something else. The creature of fire, this charge I lay, no evil in thy presence stay. I got it all screwed up. Don't quote me on any of that, but it kind of fit for the very specific vibration that I was aiming for right now. So instead of salt, I put a little bit of this chamomile lavender tea into this double R diner cup, so you know what the vibe is. So I'm going to do something a little unusual here. I'm going to give Editor Edward a little bit of work. So that's going to hang out there just to remind you what the vibration is as far as water goes today. All right. Cheers. All right. And as far as fire and air, breath and flame, we have some oud. Oh, now we have some options, some opportunities. So it's gold, but I can make it reflect whatever I want. So we'll just do it just like that. And I'm sure Editor Edward made them a little smaller, but they're there for vibes. If you can't see them, please click here. Whenever you watch my videos, don't watch part of the video. Watch the whole video. It's just a small request. Okay. But we have to actually light the incense. That's part of it. So we put the cup here after we drank the tea. Oh, that smells very nice. It always does. It kind of shocks me every time. This is oud, and I'll light the. I try not to light the lighter too close to the microphone. I was going to say microwave, so I had to stop and think about it. I don't think there's any harm. I wouldn't. No, never mind. Don't take my advice on doing things with microwaves. Okay, that's nice. Oh, why not? I'll go all the way with it. Aspergus me domine, his sopo et mundibor, lababis me et supernivem dial babur. Incensum studante benedictum ascendat domine et descendat super nos misericordia tua. All right. So we're entering into a sacred vibration. I really hope that my laptop is plugged into the electricity, and we just had a power cut, and the battery is fucked. So hopefully the battery will last, because the audio that you're hearing is not from the phone. This is what the audio from the phone sounds like. So recently, switch it back, please, Editor. So recently on Buddhist Books B-Sides, like 9 minutes or maybe 19 into the video, the computer stopped recording. But that was because it was full. I had to do a little bit of maintenance and Google shit to figure out how to get that computer working in tip-top shape again. But I did manage to do it, so everything should be fine as far as audio. Never mind. Why? Anything else before we start? No. Yeah, I'm going to give you a video. This is called Candolim, Basilica, Kayaking, and whatchamacallit. But so what I did was I took all the horizontally oriented videos that I've taken over the past 3.5 weeks or so, maybe 2.5, and put them in one place, and taken all the vertical ones of the same time period and put it in another place. And I made a 9.5 minute video of the past few weeks. And Piu's best friend's mom has been hanging out, like visiting, and so it's kind of a special video. So check it out. I think I pointed to it earlier. It's in the description. And right now I'm going to do, let's say, a 40-second. So I'm not going to take too much of your time. Or let's say 1 minute. Just indulge me for 1 minute. For 60 seconds. I'm gonna put the timer up there so you can watch it count down. And I'll be back after that timer runs out. I just gave Editor Edward a very fun project. So yeah, using the vertical counterparts of the horizontal videos that make up the video called Candolim, Basilica, Kayaking, and Parim. Anyway, it's written in the title of the video. So here it goes, doing the countdown, and go. Now we'll do the bibliomancy. This is the gift by Hafiz. So, oh, no, what am I doing? Okay. Yeah, okay. The meal, we've read that already. Please. I don't know if we've read this one before, but I'm going to read it. Please, we are at the Nile's end. We are carrying particles from every continent, creature, and age. It has been raining on the plains of our vision for millions of years, and our senses are so muddy compared to yours, dear God. But I only hear these words from you, where we are all trying to embrace the clear sky ocean. Quote, dear one, come. Please, my dear ones, come. End quote. I mean, if you're into that metaphor, if you're not, then you might be like, why is this guy talking about God? Or whatever. I don't mean to do such a caricature. Anyway, all in good fun. So now picking up where we left off last time in the Meccan Revelations by Ibn al-Arabi. The White Road. The Qadi Abd al-Wahhab al-Azdi al-Iskandari told me the following in Mecca in 599. Quote, while sleeping, I saw one of the pious ones shortly after his death. And I asked him, Jesus Christ, I'll fix it. 1 second. All right, I think we're back. Okay, quote, while sleeping, I saw one of the pious ones shortly after his death and asked him, quote within quotes, what did you see, end quote within quotes. He then told me certain things, one of which was, quote within quotes, I saw books that were lowered and others that were elevated, end quote within quotes. I asked, quote within quotes, but what were these elevated books, end quote within quotes. Quote within quotes, they were books of hadith, end quote within quotes, he replied. Quote within quotes, and the books that were lowered, end quote within quotes, I inquired, and his reply was, quote within quotes, they were books explaining personal opinions. What was the first one? Oh, hadith, okay. And their authors will have to answer for them, end quote within quotes, end quotes. This is how I realized that the issue was a serious one. So that last line was Ibn Arabi talking. He was quoting the other. Know, K-N-O-W, and may God assist you, that the Sharia is the white road, the road of the blessed and the way of beatitude. He who follows this road is saved, and he who abandons it is lost. When the verse, quote, such is my way in its rectitude, end quotes, Quran 6:153, was revealed, God's messenger drew a line on the ground and then made a number of marks to the left and to the right. Then, placing a finger on the line, he began to recite, quote, such is my way in its rectitude. Follow it. Do not follow the tracks, end quote, end quotes. End quotes. And then he showed the marks he had made on either side of the line, quote, for they will make you stray from his way, end quotes. He pointed to the straight path. Cool. Anybody who's into yin and yang or Yakin and Boaz can get behind something like that. Anyway. In Saleh, a city on the Atlantic shore of the Maghreb, where they say the earth stops and there is no land any further out. One of the pious ones from among the common people told me, quote, I saw in my sleep a white, very flat road with a uniform light shining on it. To the right and left of this road I saw ditches, paths, and ravines with brambles growing all over them. It was not possible to walk there because of how narrow they were, because of the difficulty of the terrain, and because of how many thorns there were, in addition to how dark it was. I saw everyone taking those paths in the darkness of the night. Leaving the flat white road, God's messenger was walking on this road, accompanied by a small group of others. He was looking at the people behind him. In the group, toward the back, was Shaykh Abu Ashaq Ibrahim B. Karkul, a muhaddith and an eminent master in the domain, whose son I have met. I'm not laughing I'm just laughing at the contrast between, it struck me as funny, between all of this very serious stuff and then whose son I have met. It's like something very down to earth and relatable. Like, oh yeah, I know this guy. Like, let me tell you about him. Hearing the prophet say, quote, call to the men that they might return to the good road, end quote, Ibn Karkul called out, but without reply, quote, come back to the good road, come back, end quote. None responded, and none returned to the good road. I feel like it, after we read a Hafiz poem, it's kind of like you're supposed to snap, right? That one I felt like snapping. I don't know. All right, Satan's ruses. You ready? Better than Satan's bruises. Or is it? No. It's not. Know that when the passions dominate the soul and the wise seek honor among sovereigns, they leave the white road and stray toward lenient interpretations in order to satisfy the desires that passion inspires in kings. Fucking bars, man. Look at Constantine. Look at King Ashoka. Sorry. I'll just keep reading. Who end up getting satisfaction by backing their actions with legal grounds. What? Yeah. And even if the faqih, or jurist, does not himself believe in the well-foundedness of his decision, he pronounces a fatwa in this sense. We have seen a great number of these people, both qadi and fuqaha, act in such a way. I'm just reading it. I don't know what any of it means. I hope it's not too controversial to say that, but someone said it 1,200 years ago. This guy, you should look him up. He's in a Turkish TV show. King al-Zahir Ghazi, son of King al-Nazir Salah al-Din Yusuf, I don't know what the B means, Ayyub, related a case to me in a discussion we had on this subject. He called a slave and set different time, like, quote, "Bring me the wallet," end quote. Again, the contrast between relatable things and unrelatable things. Less relatable. I asked, quote, "What is in the wallet?" End quote. "Oh, what?" He called a slave and said, "Bring me." Oh, so he's sitting there with this guy and that guy's slave. I'm sorry to say slave so much. I mean, it's a servant who doesn't get paid, but it's 1,200 years ago. I mean, it was 800 years ago. Never mind. So the three of them are sitting together, and Ibn says to, he says, "What is in the wallet?" And that you just told him to bring. He answered, quote, "Do you disapprove of the blameworthy things and injustices that take place in my city and in my kingdom? By God, I am, like you, convinced that all this is blasphemy. However, master, there is not a single blameworthy thing that is not the result of a decision handed down by a jurist and written by this very hand, which I have in my possession, authorizing it. May God's damnation be upon them." So one jurist, and he named the jurist most famous in his land for his faith and ascetic life, handed down a fatwa according to which it is not prescribed for me to fast during the month of Ramadan specifically, only to fast for some month during the year. It was up to me to choose the month of the year I wanted, end quote. And the Sultan said, quote, "In my heart I denounced him severely, but I did not let him know, because he was so-and-so," end quote. And he named him. Good on you, Ibn Arabi, for not naming him. I mean, he's like, let me tell you, there's this fucking guy you won't believe, but hey, you know what? Like, he'll remain anonymous. You don't need to know his name. Like, okay, that's pretty cool, Ibn. Know that God gave Satan power over imagination. When Satan observes in a faqih an inclination towards some passion that God condemns, he suggests an unusual interpretation that allows him to see a bad action as good and makes the discovery of an accommodating solution much easier. It was Satan who said, quote, "The men of the first generation." I don't know. I have so many voices that I do that I was trying to do something I haven't done before, but we'll just see where it goes. It was Satan who said, quote, "The men of the first generation, that of the prophet's companions, absolved themselves of their religious duties by using their personal judgment. The scholars used reasoning by analogy in the matter of legal statutes. They clarified causes and made statutes on issues about which the law says nothing, and they also did on things about which the law is explicit, basing their opinions on the fact that these things have a single same cause, but they established the cause via personal deduction." End quote. That's what Satan says in his voice. So I try. remember when we were reading Martin Luther, sometimes Martin Luther would say, hey, if we say this, then the devil will say, hey, well, if that's the case, then, you're a hypocrite because and we don't want the devil to be right, It's like, okay, Martin, that's an interesting way to think. I mean, it's abstract and almost playful if it weren't usually from experience, like observing others and, and myself at different times. Like, it brings about a primal paranoia feeling, and it's kind of obnoxious, but... Once Satan has paved the way for him, he works to get what his passion dictates in any way he can consider legal, and he continues to do so until he owns or has subjugated every object of his desire. I mean, let me just play a bit of audio for you, and then I'll point a link. This reminds me of this.
This is called the mental state of samadhi dissolving so that one loses sight of what is right. If he understands, then there is no error. This experience does not indicate sagehood. But if he considers himself a sage, then a demon of emptiness will enter his mind. He will slander the holding of precepts, calling it a small vehicle dharma. He will say, since bodhisattvas have awakened to emptiness, what is there to hold or violate? This person, in the presence of his faithful Dhanapatis, will often drink wine, eat meat, and engage in wanton lust. The power of the demon will keep his followers from doubting or denouncing him. After the ghost has possessed him for a long time, he may consume excrement and urine, or meat and wine, claiming that all such things are empty. He will break the Buddha's moral precepts and mislead people into committing offenses. Lacking proper samadhi, he will certainly fall.
It's interesting, isn't it? So that's over here. That's on Buddhist Books Podcast. Śūraṅgama, Volume 8. It's good. It's good. He rejects the Prophet's hadith, saying, quote, if this hadith were authentic, 3 dots, end quote, or when the hadith is clearly authentic, quote, if there were not another hadith that contradicted or abrogated this one, Imam al-Shafi'i would have kept this solution. But since he did not do so, there is no reason to take the authentic hadith into account. End quote. This is the way it is if the man is Shafite. If he is Hanafite, he will say, quote, Abu Hanifa would have kept this solution, end quote, and so on and so forth for the disciples of the Imams. They claim that the hadith and its use are a source of error, and that what is imperative is blindly following the Imams' opinions and their example in the judgments they hand down.
If he considers himself a sage, then a demon of desire will enter his mind. He will become an outspoken advocate of lust, calling it the way to Buddha. He will teach his lay followers to indiscriminately engage in acts of lust, calling those who commit acts of lust his dharma errors. The power of spirits and ghosts in the ending age will enable him to attract a following of ordinary, naive people numbering 100, 200, 5 or 600, or as many as 1,000 or 10,000. When the demon becomes bored, it will leave the person's body. Once the person's charisma is gone, he will run afoul of the law. He will mislead living beings so that they fall into the relentless hells. Lacking proper samadhi, he will certainly fall.
Yeah, I don't know. Like they seem like companion. Like that's a little more colorful. But yeah, this is the Esoteric Nerd episode that was the original, and then the one that I pointed to earlier that's on Buddhist Books Podcast was Frankenstein or reverse Frankenstein or whatever it means when you take something's heart out and put it in a Buddhist Books episode. So, yeah, check that out. I'll make both of those so you can pick whichever one you want. Those will be the two things at the end screen after the chicken click later. When these judgments happen to contradict traditions of prophetic origin, they follow the former and leave the Akbar, the book, and the Sunnah aside. And when I tell them that Shafi'i declared, quote, if it happens that a hadith is in contradiction to my words, hurl my words against the wall and choose the hadith, because my teachings are the hadith, end quote. Or that Abu Hanifa stated to his companions, quote, it is formally forbidden for anyone who utters a fatwa based on my sayings to do so without knowing that I used as proof dalil? Is that the meaning of proof? What? End quote. Now I am not reporting anything coming from Abu Hanifa that has not come to me via Hanafite channels, and nothing about Shafi'i that has not come to me via Shafi'i channels, Shafi'ite. And likewise as far as the Malachites and the Hanbatites, Hanbalitites, there it is, are concerned. So when I manage to back the jurists up against the wall during the course of a debate, they give in without a word. This has happened with them on a number of occasions, in both the West and the East. I wonder what it means when he says it. I'm sure nothing related to what people say now. In truth, not a single one of them really belongs to the madhab with which he claims affiliation. Sacred law has been abrogated by the passions, and this despite the fact that Akbar reported in the authentic books, the Sahih by Bukhari and Muslim, the biographies of the transmitters where the information is found, concerning their approval of their disapproval, and the collections of Isnad have been preserved and protected from alterations and interpolations. But when one ceases using these Akbar, and I just have to play it. So that they're all not worshiping, they're just like, they really like Akbar. He's like, I'm going to marry a Hindu princess and rule, and let her build a Krishna temple inside the Islamic capital, and we're going to stop the pilgrim tax that they. So everybody was like, dude, you're the best emperor I've ever heard of. And then he was supporting this syncretization of Hindu and Islam and Christian and a bunch of other stuff, and but his son was like, nah, we're gonna be assholes. So sometimes you get lucky, and then the next day, that's the problem with hereditary dictatorship. I mean, probably one of many problems with hereditary dictatorship. Okay, anyway, so he was named apparently after this Akbar. When I, up until today, would hear Akbar, I'd be like, I wonder if they're named after the king. Oh, is there? Yeah, Akbar. There's a book right here. I wonder if we should read a paragraph of that at the beginning of every Meccan revelation. Maybe. No. Okay, but when one ceases using these Akbar, and when men are concerned about Ray and submit to their predecessors' fatwa, even if they contradict the authentic Akbar, then there is no longer any difference between the inexistence and the existence of these Akbar, since they no longer have any kind of authority in their eyes. Let's put the definition of Akbar above my head. Thank you, editor. What greater abrogation can there be than this? And if you happen to disagree with one of these scholars, is it still recording? Oh, it just stopped. I don't know, something, I was psychic and I looked over right in time to see it. So, yeah, as I had predicted, the laptop has switched itself off. I'm just going to finish this paragraph and then we'll close. What greater abrogation can there be than this? And if you happen to disagree with one of these scholars, he will reply that such is the way it is in his school. By God, what a liar. The founder of that madhab told him, quote, when the Khabar contradicts my own words, adopt the hadith and throw my opinions into the latrines. In truth, my school is the hadith. Quote, if this individual were truly acting with equity, belonging to Shafi'i's school would, for him, consist in abandoning Shafi'i's words in favor of the hadith whenever the former contradict the latter. May God assist them all. All right. I mean, I do kind of sense a bit of a Lutheran energy. I mean, not to say that Martin Luther has the copyright on that kind of energy. Maybe it was the other way around. Like Martin Luther was being a little bit like Ibn Arabi when he was looking at different factions and saying, y'all need to read the fucking Bible, guys. Like, what are you doing? So anyway, yeah. All right. That was something. That was what it was. We had some fun with the with the issues with the audio today. Thank you all for tuning in. Click one of the links at the end to check out when I was cutting to that other thing, you know, the Śūraṅgama Sutra. Check out the Śūraṅgama Sutra by clicking, if you're drawn to the Buddhist Books podcast energy, then click up here. If you're drawn to the Esoteric Nerd energy, then click down here. Till next time.